Yo, what is up? With that, we say welcome into the best damn sports podcast, period. The best damn sports podcast, period. The hottest sports podcast in the South. Sentell's live on YouTube on our Overreaction Monday. I apologize for the wait. I was ready to come 7. But sometimes you don't have things under control, so you just have to just go with the flow. But welcome into the show. You know who I am, aka Mr. No Days Off, aka the One Man Dynasty. Should be a lot to react to from this weekend in the NFL, college football, NBA, situation with Colin Kaepernick. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on it. I could. I literally could do the whole entire show around that, but I'm not gonna do that unless I feel the need to do that. But I don't think I feel the need to do that. But if people want to talk about that, we can. I mean, you know how I feel about the situation, and it would be like me just kind of beating this horse over and over again. I don't want to beat that horse over and over again, but I could if you wanted me to. I would do that. But it's so much, in the world of sports we can talk about. So again, feel free. I want to open the lines up immediately. So 864-378-0163, 864-378-0163. If you want to get in, we can get in immediately. We can talk about anything from the world of sports that happened over the weekend. Some big news in college football. We started with 5 undefeated teams, and we lost 2 of those undefeated teams. So 2 undefeated teams lost this weekend, so now we are down to 3, and that leaves only 3. There we are. Anyway, welcome into the show again. Last night we had an NFL game, Sunday Night Football. It was the Chicago Bears at the LA Rams, and it's exactly what I expected. I expected an ugly offensive football game. They set offensive football back 20 years. We know Mitchell Trubisky stinks. He finally got benched in this game, but he is bad offensively. He is terrible. And the Rams have struggled as of late offensively. I mentioned not having a running game. It seems to be if they don't have a running game, Jared Goff cannot get it done. And he looked horrible last night. Barely threw for 100 yards, had an interception. Now, Ty Gurley actually had one of his better games. This is not a great game by any stretch, 25 for 97, a touchdown, but it was one of his better games he's had in a really long time. So, I don't know what to take from that. I really don't. But the Rams beat the Bears 17-7. I mean, the Bears are awful, and it's offensively. They held up. They held around the 17 points. I mean, I'm sure, they got put in some bad positions by the offense. I mean, it was hard to watch. I mean, it was a hard game to watch. Like, it was just hard to watch that game last night. It's brutal, man. It's brutal, man. But let's get into Saturday's action. I mentioned that Minnesota and Baylor both went down. Baylor went down. They was up 25 points on Oklahoma. Oklahoma storms back. And caps off an amazing comeback. Baylor did not score in the second half. Would you believe that if I told you that Baylor did not score in the whole entire second half? Jalen Hurts, without CD Lamb, who's going to play on Sundays, brought them all the way back. So Baylor got knocked from the unbeaten. I told you on Friday, anytime you go to Iowa, it is a tough place to play. Minnesota found that out after the big win against Penn State. This is what we talking about with the top teams. We have really good schedules that you have to get up each and every week, and now teams are getting up even more because you're undefeated and they really want to knock you off. So you go into Iowa. Iowa's a competent football team. They're not gonna wire you, but they're gonna play sound football, and at home, it was just too much for Minnesota to overcome, and Iowa wins 23-19. So only 3 remain, and There's clear separation. I told you last week. There's been clear separation from the top 3 teams. There has been clear separation between LSU, Ohio State, and Clemson. There has been clear separation. I will give you my new top 6 college football rankings in just a few minutes, but I want to kind of go through the schedule. But there has been separation. LSU, Ohio State, and Clemson have all separated themselves from everyone else. Has been clear separation. And unless anything crazy happen, those will be your top 3 teams. Come playoff time. The debate is obviously going to be around who's the number 4 team, and everybody can debate that till the cows come home. But that there has been clear separation. Again, line is already open. 864-378-0163. If you want to get in, 864-378-0163. The lines are already open if you want to get in. This is the hottest sports podcast in the South. Sentell right here live on YouTube. Over the weekend, we saw Georgia defeat Auburn 21-14. Georgia jumps out to a 21-0 lead. Auburn finally wakes up, puts a couple of drives together. Actually had the ball with a chance to maybe potentially tie the game, but Georgia snuffed it out, and they clinched the SEC East in the process. So my prediction at the beginning of the season for the SEC was LSU and Georgia. So here we are, LSU and Georgia in December, SEC championship game. So Georgia gets a win there. I mentioned a potential pitfall for Utah against UCLA. No. 49-3. Utah Utes, they are for real. That's why I continue to put those high up in my ranking, because they are legit. Oregon also had no trouble with Arizona, 34-6. Let's see. Clemson defeated Wake Forest 52-3. What a dominating defensive performance by Clemson. I know you think it's just Wake, but Wake had the 40th ranked total offense in the country, and they got held to 105 yards of total offense. Not passing offense, not rushing. They got 100 yards for the entire game. The entire game. They got held to 105 yards total. And this was not a slouch offense. I mentioned 40th ranked total offense altogether, and number 30th pass offense in the country. Now they were missing Sage Surratt, who is a big time player for them. But Clemson defense is really good. And it's kind of, and I don't like to typically quote Dabo. I like some of the stuff he does. I'm not a huge fan of Dabo like that, but he made a valid point. People are focusing on who they're playing and not how they're playing. That's why I continue to have them up there, because if you look at them defensively, they are dominant defensively. I know they're not playing some high octane offenses, but if we're gonna praise another team down here in a few minutes, I'm gonna get to about playing these type of offenses, but they'll brag about their defense, but we don't really talk about Clemson's defense enough. Clemson's defense is legit stout. I mean, they are stout. That is nasty. In the sense that close game with North Carolina, they'd be just blowing people just out. 45-7, 52-7, 59. So I mean, just beating them down. So that's why they remain in my schedule withstanding. Around college football, Wisconsin over Nebraska. Penn State bounced back after the loss against Minnesota last week over Indiana, 34-27. I mentioned that Indiana could potentially present some pitfalls for Penn State, but they got by them. Michigan was all over Michigan State, 44-10. LSU, the number 1 team in the country, 58-37. A little pause for concern with LSU defense. Okay, I know it's not the 85 Bears to begin with, but they give up 612 yards of offense against Ole Miss, and the quarterback rushed for another 212 by himself. They give up 400 yards on the ground. Some pause for concern in that. I don't think they'll see anybody in the rest of the schedule who can present this type of offensive threat. So I think they'll be fine until the playoffs. But that's a little points. That's a lot. That is a lot of points and a lot of yards that they gave up. Of course, Florida beat Missouri 23-6. But big news. Alabama beats Mississippi State. But obviously, the news out of that game is what happened to Tua Tagovailoa. Dislocated his hip. I see a lot of things floating around on networks and on blogs and Twitter about whose fault it is. Should he have been playing? X, Y, and Z. Let me say this right now, and I'm not a Nick Saban guy. I'm not a Nick Saban apologist. I'm not one of those people who just worship the ground Nick Saban walks on. But this is not Nick Saban's fault. It is not Nick Saban's fault. You know whose fault this is that Tua got hurt? You want to know whose fault this is? Football. This is what happens in football. This is a violent game, and you're always one play away from being injured to the point where you can't play again. This is why players in the NFL try so hard to get money. This is why they go to the length that they go to by holding out to get money. And I know Joe Blow sits at home and says the players selfish and they're greedy and they're spoiled. But this is why. And this is also why you can't have college football kids with no insurance whatsoever on their careers, potentially risking everything to play a game for free. This is also why. Because you're one play away. What if this guy can never play football again? All those millions and millions of dollars he was going to get, gone. All gone. Now you people who out there who always side with the owners and sides with the NCAA, are you gonna give him that million? Are you gonna give him that money? Or are you gonna give him that money? Are you gonna be the one to give him that money? That's what I want to know. Are you gonna be the one to give him that money? No, it's not Nick Saban's fault. It's the game of football fault. It's the game of football. You're trying to win a game. You got your best player out there. Now, was he 100%? Probably not. Now, if you don't want to start him, then don't start him. But if he's out there, this is part of the risk of playing football. You can get hurt on any down, any play, at any moment. This is football. This is what happens. This is what happens. It's the result. And it was a freaky little thing, a freaky incident anyway. When you see the play, it doesn't look like he even hurt anything. So that's the danger of playing football. So no, it is not Nick Saban's fault. It's the game of football's fault. Because it is inherently dangerous. That's why it's called football. Welcome into the show. If you want to get in, 864-378-0163. 864-378-0163. If you want to get in on the conversation about college football this past weekend, we had lots going on. Baylor, Minnesota goes down. We got a new AP out. I got my college football rankings that I will unveil in just a few minutes. And I mentioned, I'm gonna get to that. You know what? Let me go ahead and get my college football playoff rankings out and go from there. Let me get my rankings up, and I'll get them on the board for you people. Get these rankings up. Well, let's fix this. All right, there they are. There's my college football playoff rankings. There they are in the flesh. All right, at 6, I have the University of Georgia. Finally, another good win. Got 3 quality wins. And it's hard for me to keep moving. I'm finally moving them. Another win. Like I said, they can keep winning. I'll keep moving them. But before then, that loss to South Carolina is egregious. It's egregious, and I just can't shake my head over it. Beat an okay Auburn team. I don't want to call them good because offensively Auburn is terrible. But it's a good win because they're a top 15 ranked team. So that's three top 15 wins versus opponents for Georgia, Florida, Notre Dame, and now Auburn. So that's a solid win. And they'll get A&M this coming weekend. Like I mentioned, they also clinched the SEC Eastern Division. So a good win for Georgia. At 5 is Utah. Tyler Huntley. And if you haven't seen Utah play, and I know most of you haven't because you live here in the South and you only think that football's played Georgia, Florida, North Carolina. I get it. So, yeah, I know. Utah is good. And defensively, they're really good. I told you at the beginning of the season that watch out for their defense, especially the defensive line. They got some dudes out there. They got some linebackers. They got some nice cornerbacks and safeties. Really a legit football team. That's why I got them at 5. And man, they just smashed UCLA, who had come off 3 straight wins. I thought this could potentially maybe a trap game for Utah. Looking ahead, and they just smashed 49. They just demolished. Wasn't even close. At 4, I have the Oregon Ducks. Been with the Ducks all season. They lost on the last play of the game on a neutral site in the first game of the season, and so I believe in Oregon. Justin Herbert. I mean, I would love to see Justin Herbert have some of the receiving cores that some of these guys have in the nation. See the kind of numbers he would actually put up if he had that type of receiving core. But they are just a sound football team. They run it, they can throw it, they play good defense. Just a solid, well-rounded football team. So I have them at 4. At 3, I have Clemson. I mentioned them 11-0. Dominant performance against Wake. They played South Carolina in 2 weeks. Trevor Lawrence hasn't thrown an interception in like 3 straight games. Travis Etienne is running wild. You know all the receivers, you know the weapons, but defensively, up front, they're just dominating in the trenches. They only allowed 64 yards rushing to Wake Forest. And they just, hey man, let me tell you something. We're not the national landscape is not paying attention. I'm paying attention. This is dominating and beating people like you're supposed to, that you're supposed to beat, and they're beating them down. At number 2, Ohio State. Eye test wise, just looking at them, been the most complete dominant team in the country on both sides of the ball. They have been just blowing people out, beating them down. Games haven't even been competitive for the most part. Second half, I don't think any of the games been. Fourth quarter, you can forget about it. I don't think there's a game they went into yet in the fourth quarter was actually a ball game. They have just beat down everyone in their path. And then LSU, 10-0, but the resume speaks for itself. The 4 quality wins. At the time they played those opponents, all the opponents was in the top 10, and 3 of them I think are still in the top 10. So you look at LSU resume. Joe Burrow, give him the Heisman now. He's just been outstanding. I think he has 38 TD passes now, 38, 39. I mean, he's just been brilliant, man. Joe has been just brilliant with his arm as well as his legs. So that's my top 6: Georgia, Utah, Oregon, Clemson, Ohio State, and LSU round out my top 6 of my college football ranking. The official college football playoff rankings will come out tomorrow on ESPN. And welcome back. If you want to get in on that, 864-378-0163. 864-378-0163. Again, I mentioned that we can talk about anything in the world of sports. If you do want to mention and talk about the Colin Kaepernick situation, you are more than welcome to mention that, comment, call, and talk about it. I will reply in kind, because I really don't want to spend, I don't want to talk about it, because I talk about it. I will be here the rest of the show talking about it, and I don't want to do that, because it's a very passionate subject for me. Very passionate about it, and I will just fight tooth and nail about it. And But again, if you want to, we can go back and forth a little bit about it. I'm not gonna, go on a long tangent about it. It was on most of the sports shows this morning, this afternoon. So I know you people probably are tired out and worn out by it. So I won't speak on it unless you decide to speak on it. 864-378-0163. Welcome into the hottest sports podcast in the South, Sentell's Intel, live on YouTube. On an Overreaction Monday. A lot of college football, action from the weekend that resulted in some upsets and some dominating performances. Baylor, Minnesota go down. Baylor blows a 25-point lead. That Georgia Auburn game, I mean, it was ugly. It was an ugly football game. You expected it to be a defensive game. Georgia just, better. They can do more things offensively, but I'm still not there with them offensively. I'm just not there. I'm just not. Jake Fromm went 13 of 28 for 110 yards. In today's college football, 110 yards. Now he had 3 touchdowns, but 110 yards passing. I just don't. I mean, the defense is really good. They're number one. They're the number one scoring defense in college football. But also keep in mind that the best offensive team they played, total offense, is Notre Dame. They're ranked 47th. Auburn was 54. So those are the 2 best offenses that they've seen. But I wouldn't exactly call those high octane dynamic offenses. So that's what I meant when I brought up Clemson earlier. People are touting Georgia's defense and how stout they are, and I get it because the numbers say they're the number one scoring defense. But they're not giving Clemson the same claim on defense because of the ACC schedule. But I'm comparing the offenses that you see. And again, Georgia has not played a high octane offense this season so far. They done what they're supposed to do defensively, but I'm not convinced that they could get into a shootout. And that's what it's going to take come December. And we know what we're talking about here. LSU, Georgia. But we can look ahead. And can they get into a shootout? Can they get into a shootout? Can they get to 30? And that's the question that you have to ask. Can they get to 30 in a potential game with LSU? I finally got in my top 6. They're finally in my top 6. You beat A&M, you beat Georgia Tech, you win the SEC championship game, and you're probably in the playoffs. So, with that being said, if you take care of those things, you still can get there. You can get there. Am I a believer at this moment? I am not a believer. Very moment. Again, number 864-378-0163. 864-378-0163. Hopefully get a phone call or 2 in here. Before that, let me get over here and we're gonna take a quick break and I'm gonna come back and we're gonna switch gears to the NFL. Go down the NFL schedule. What did we like? Who was bad? Who was not good? Good performances of the day from the NFL. We'll go through all of those and more after this break. Hopefully get some more phone calls. Hopefully a few more comments right here on the Best Damn Sports Podcast, period. Do not go anywhere. I'll be right back. Yo, welcome back into the show, man. Let's switch gears, get into this NFL action from the weekend. It was high and it was heavy. Hot NFL action, but like again, the phone line is still open if you want to get in. 864-378-0163, 864-378-0163. It is also strolling down the bottom of your screen right there. So if you want to get in, you can. Let's talk about the NFL, man. Shall we? The NFL. Let's talk about it. Let's get into it. Man, oh man, oh man. All right. Start the day off in Carolina with the Atlanta Falcons defeating the Panthers 29-3. Held the Panthers without a touchdown. This is the second straight week the Falcons have showed up and put the wood to a really good team last week in the Saints, and a good team this week in the Panthers. Forced Kyle Allen to 4 INTs, held Christian McCaffrey in check, and last week they beat the Saints 26-9. This week they beat the Panthers 29-3. Now, where was this Atlanta Falcons team all year? This is the team that I picked to win the NFC South. Where has this been? Where, I asked you, where has this been, Atlanta? This is the team that I thought I was going to get. Why? Why did it take going 2-7 to get this thing turned around? Why? I need answers. I need answers, Carolina. I mean, Atlanta. And Carolina fans, I know we moving on from Cam. You may want, you know what? No, because everybody is changing scenery. What we're learning is that Kyle Allen is probably not your guy. Just maybe. He still could be, but he's shown some chink in the armor here as of late. Has thrown a ton of picks in the last 3 or 4 weeks. A ton of picks. So maybe you may have to go do something in the draft or free agency. I do think Cam and the Panthers are done with each other, and I think it's good for both parties to get the hell away from each other at this point, at this stage. It was the Dallas Cowboys over the Detroit Lions 35-27 behind a brilliant performance from Dak Prescott, 29 of 46, 444 yards and 3 touchdowns, no INTs. You know what? I picked this team to get to the Super Bowl based on the talent of the roster. Thought that you had the most talented back in the league, and you got the best O line, you got the best stable of linebackers. I mean, you just had talent all over this roster. And what has happened is this team, and I still think that you're gonna have to run the ball, in order to get where you ultimately want to go. But if you watch it, this shift is starting to take place on this roster. It's starting to become more of a Dak Prescott type of team. They're putting the ball in Dak's hands more, and that's largely because they haven't been able to establish the run as of late. Now, Zeke had some early games. He had 4 games over 100 yards rushing. But as of late, he's not been carrying the mail as you would think, and he only had about 46 yards, I think, yesterday. They put the game in Dak's hands. That's 46 attempts. I don't know what that rank is for his career, but that is a high number of attempts for Dak Prescott. But the weapons that he has around him, you know the names, the Gallups, the Coopers. Randall Cobb made an appearance yesterday. Both tight ends, old and young, play really well. The Pollard kid comes off the bench, can catch it out the backfield. So they're dynamic. That's why I picked them to get to the Super Bowl. I picked them, and I just told you I couldn't understand why they're so Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and I know what it is. It's the head coach. It is the head coach. Without a question, it's the head coach. They're so Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. 1 week they look good, 1 week they look bad, 1 week they look good, 2 weeks they look good, and that's just the inconsistencies that you see with the Dallas Cowboys. Moving along, it was the Colts over the Jaguars. They get back Jacoby Brissett, and all of a sudden the Colts are back in first place in the AFC South. coast over the Jags 33-13. And it's clear that, Jacoby makes a big difference on this team. And he made a difference yesterday. Marlon Mack ran it well until he got injured. Jacksonville had Nick Foles back. He threw 2 TD passes for what it worth, but the defense couldn't do anything with that Colts offense yesterday. Also at 1, it was the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins. The Bills get back on their winning ways. Last the Dolphins who was on a 2-game winning streak. Josh Allen played really well yesterday. He's went 3 straight games without throwing an INT. 37-20. Bills over Dolphins. Bills are 7-3. 7-3. We got playoff team. This is the playoff team. Yesterday, marquee early matchup. It was the Ravens and Texans, and man, oh man, Ravens unleashed a beat down on the Texans that I did not see coming. Friday, I chose the Texans. I thought the Texans would probably get a win. I thought Deshaun would be special and kind of go into Lamar's house and kind of steal his thunder. Lamar said, not today and not in my house. He was brilliant. It was the Ravens all over the Texans, 41-7. Lamar Jackson, 17-24, 222 yards, 4 TDs through the air. He also ran it for another 86 yards. They just dominated the Texans. Deshaun did nothing through 1 pick. It was just a beatdown, and Lamar has quickly catapulted to the top of my MVP race with that performance, because I did not see that kind of a performance and a beatdown of the Texans. I thought this game would be really, really close, maybe even a shootout, maybe, come down to a final drive. It never materialized. Ravens all over the Texans. It was the Vikings overcoming a 20-0 lead at halftime against the Broncos. They come back and win 27-23. It's one of the biggest comebacks in Vikings history. Led behind Kirk Cousins, 29-35, 319, 3 TDs. I mean, Kirk, man, he had a bad game last week. This is what he's so frustrating. This is what he makes you mad. That's what Kirk Cousins does. He just makes you mad, and you just see some games he has like this. He has stretches where he's good, and then he just plays bad, and you don't know why. And then yesterday he started all bad. You're like, okay, here comes another one of those Kirk Cousins stinkers that we get all the time. And then bam, guy lights it up in the second half. Vikings come back. They win the game 27-23. It with the Jets over the Redskins 34-17. The Redskins are awful. They are terrible. The Redskins stink. They're 1-9. And next to the Bengals, they're just bad. Jets no better, but beating up on bad teams. 3-7 Jets. It with the Saints, who bounced back after that loss to the Falcons, 34-17 over the Buccaneers. Jameis Winston is a turnover machine. You heard it once, you heard it twice, you heard it 3 times. He just turns the ball over entirely too much. I've never seen a guy who turns the ball over like this. It's like he's determined to throw a pick. He's determined to fumble a snap. He's just determined to turn the ball over. They move it up and down the field, but this guy just turns the ball over entirely too much. And it's hard to watch. It is hard to watch. Drew Brees threw for 3 TDs yesterday. Saints bounced back. But I don't know what you're going to do with Jameis. I just don't know what they're going to do with Jameis. I just don't know. I can't understand. I just don't understand this guy. I don't understand him. And it's bad. It's bad. In a thrilling game yesterday, the 49ers come back to beat the Arizona Cardinals 36-26. Jimmy G was the G yesterday. He was a G. 34-45, 424 yards, 4 TDs. They did have 2 interceptions. There's another guy who wants to throw a pick every game, but this guy bounced back, led a game-winning drive to take the lead, and ultimately the 49ers win 36-26 and move to 9-1 on the season. Best record in the NFC. It was the Raiders winning their third straight game to move to 6-4 over the Bengals. The Bengals remain winless, 0-10. They already changed quarterbacks. They've had a new head coach. Oh my God, I bet they would wish that Marvin Lewis. They would wish Marvin Lewis was still around. The Bengals 0-10, bad football team. It was the Patriots beating the Eagles 17-10. Now, the Patriots were not nothing spectacular on offense. Again, and I keep saying this offense is not good. Defense is carrying this team. They even had to rely on a throw yesterday from Julian Edelman. He threw the TD pass yesterday. So this team, I think, scored one offensive touchdown, I believe, and kicked a lot of field goals. But they somehow held on. And you know what? I'm done with the Eagles. Now they can still win the division because it's close. They're a game back, but they technically 2 games back because they lost to the Cowboys and they still get another game. But I'm done with the Eagles. I'm done with them. They are who we thought they are. I'm not sitting around waiting to see something that I don't see. I know they got a lot of injuries, a lot of things going on with them offensively, but they just don't win. They don't know how to find ways to win games like this. They jumped out to an early lead, and they should have won this game yesterday. They should have won this game yesterday, and they didn't. The Patriots were there to be beat. Couldn't do anything offensively. The Patriots couldn't, and you could not beat them when they scored 17 points and get a touchdown from a receiver. And they could not find a way to put up more than 10 points. I know they were down some weapons, but again, this offense, and maybe Deshaun can help them, but I'm done with them. I have them in the playoffs. I didn't have them in the division, but I'm done with them. Until they show me something, I'm done with them. They just let you down at every turn, every big game. Every game that's against a good opponent, they just don't find ways to win these games. Not at 5-5, the 500 football team. So I'm done with them. And I mentioned the Bears and Rams earlier. Chiefs and Chargers are on right now. Cause typically I'm usually gone before Monday Night Football, so I apologize that I'm interrupting the Chiefs and Chargers. Pat Mahomes and Phillip Rivers probably put on the show as we speak. Now, a few more minutes. Try to get a phone call or two, maybe some more comments, and then I'm gonna get out of here. Because, I don't like to go this long, this late. I'm supposed to have been on and been gone over half an hour ago. So, but the show must go on. I'm here for you people. Maybe get a phone call, 864-378-0163, 864-378-0163. College football was good this weekend. NFL was good this weekend. Anything you want to discuss, Colin Kaepernick, if you want to talk about it, we can get on. I will be here the rest of this show talking about Colin. I'm not going to do that. If you haven't heard, but if you did see it, of course, Colin, NFL set up a private workout in Atlanta, and it was sketchy from the start with me. Very, very sketchy from the start with me. And the NFL, it completely felt like a publicity stunt, like a dog and pony show from the jump. Colin changed his mind and kind of did his own thing, and I said kudos to that because they thought they had him cornered, and he just fooled them and did his own thing. So yeah, with him. Again, if you want to get in, 864-378-0163, 864-378-0163 on the hottest sports podcast in the South. That's right, the best damn sports podcast. Period. Sentell, Intel. I am live on an Overreaction Monday. Again, if you want to talk about the NFL, if you want to talk about college football, talk about Lamar Jackson's performance, Dak Prescott's performance, Jimmy G's performance, Baylor losing, Minnesota losing. We only have 3 undefeated teams left. LSU, Ohio State, Clemson. I mentioned earlier that there is separation. There has been distinct and obvious separation between those top 3 teams. And the argument is only for the 4th spot, for me, I've been saying it. The Pac-12 one-loss Pac-12 champion should be the representative, should be the 4th seed. So, and I feel very confident in that pick, and I think that's how it's going to go down. And I can't see any other scenarios. Less chaos ensues. Georgia was to lose to A&M, and was to beat LSU, how would that look? I mean, other things like that. But other than that, it's going the way that I thought it would go. At the beginning of the season, I did have a slight change. I got 3 of the teams very much alive in the top 4, and then the other team that I picked Um, they're not gonna get in. So that's just not gonna how it gonna be on this show. So I guess not gonna get a phone call, and I don't look like I'm gonna get a phone call. So with that being said, I want to thank everyone into this abbreviated edition of the Hottest Sports Podcast in the South. Sentell. Sorry for the delay. I will be back Friday for a Football Friday edition. We will look ahead to some of the best matchups in college football, the NFL, and also my sucker of the week will be back this Friday, so you don't want to miss that. So for everyone here, Sentell, you know, aka Mr. No Days Off, aka the One Man Dynasty. We will see you guys on Friday again. Thanks to everyone who watched, who tuned in. I appreciate you. See you Friday. I am out. Peace.